Hello everyone, let's do some drawing. Today I'm going to do the three characters that my friends and I are playing in D&D currently. So at the top here we have our rogue, Shade, who, strangely enough, is the one with the most morals in the campaign. And very recently we found out that we are absolutely not the heroes of the story because of terrible choices, which is kind of funny, I think. So she's got a whip, and it will take a bit of time to draw it because I don't like the idea of ever just drawing a single line of leather for a whip. I think it's a lost chance to make something interesting. So I really like putting big solid bits of leather, even like parts of it almost like chain. Just makes it, an interesting weapon. And if anyone's watched the Castlevania anime, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's actually a metal chain, so I guess at some point down here I will fix that and put metal parts on it. So Shade wears leather and cloth, rolled up sleeves, has a hood over her face, proper rogue style, and put some hair flowing out from the inside. Nice. This drawing was going to be a lot bigger, but as I was sketching it, it just naturally became quite little, so I thought I'd just stick to a smaller one instead of trying to make it fit. A little face, some more hair. Yeah. I like oversized hoods as well, the ones that come halfway down the back. And they just add a nice little detail, almost like a sense of not feeling quite right. I guess rogues have that sort of sense of, playing for themselves and not really fitting in the world they are in, whatever storyline they've been given or developed. A lot of belts. And I thought this one I'll try and do a little bit less sketchy because I think the sketchy ones I've done on the channel have been nice to do, but when we're looking at through the camera at the end, it feels like we lose a lot of details. So, still kind of sketchy. I mean, it's not exactly perfect drawing or anything like that, and it's more for the fun, but I thought today I would do a little bit of a more accurate sketch. Do lots of cloth bits, Yeah. Shade is such an interesting character. It's almost like everything she says and does is got weight and, sharp. Even her clothes look sharp, And she wears I'm not sure if this is how she actually looks. I just always imagined her wearing like a dress. It's like, and she has all these straps, kind of like, the crow. That was a great film. What was that? 93? 95? Great film. These are more straps. I guess she'd want her arms free, sort of from the elbow down, so this is just a bit of leather. I guess it's so she has lots of mobility. She actually has a crossbow, a little hand crossbow. I might put that in later. Excuse me, let me have a bit of my coffee. Oh, I feel like I'm losing my voice. Right. She wears cloth trousers. I don't know if she has knee pads or anything, but I'm going to give them to her anyway. Or straps. And buckles. I always wonder if the characters we choose is because they a little bit of us in them, you know. I like Shade is secretly incredibly funny. And the player who's playing her is exactly that. One of the funniest people I know. And also an incredible writer, which is, you know, something quite special. Yeah, so I wonder if the characters that we're playing games, could be any type of game, couldn't it? Yeah, characters we play is because they feel closer to us. I don't know, maybe not. Just rabbiting on. And this one will be stitched like a shin pad. A little bit there. And some buckles. Nice. Sorry, I got hair in my mouth. Ugh. Yeah, and I don't think she would wear heels or anything. I think she wears sort of. It kind of looks like a clog, so let's try and fix that. I don't know what's happened there. That's a really weird shoe. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so she's almost done. I'll do a bit more of the whip coming down here. With another thread of leather or something whipping round. Even like almost like a tight knot there. And then this bit will be like a piece of bone. Because Shade is quite a dark character. She likes collecting souls. You know, that old chestnut. Oh no, my boiler's going again. Apologies. You know what might be cool actually? Kind of macabre. But if the whip wasn't just a spiked whip, like a normal metal one, maybe it's bone. That's kind of cool. Kind of gross. So we could start drawing the bone there. So I don't know if the whip should go behind this character or in front. Maybe behind. I don't want to have to hide so much. Also, that means I don't have to draw so much whip, which is somewhat of a win. I have it wrap around there a little bit. Best thing about a whip, you can kind of put anything you want into it and it still kind of looks cool. So we know we need to connect that around there. Alright, we'll move on to Kevin. So Kevin is the character I'm playing. Unfortunately, like we discussed in previous videos, quite a boring person. So Kevin was the name I gave my character, who was sort of barbaric, a barbarian, and you know, a very low-end druid. And during the story, actually lost his ability to rage. So now is more of a traditional druid, however, still thinks themselves as a very angry individual. But unfortunately, because I'm quite a silly person, most of the things that come out of his mouth are just silly, unhelpful, and yeah, bit of a mess really. The DM's been really good in ensuring that we're having the best time, and also, I'll talk about what that means here. So, on the back of Kevin, we have a giant snap turtle shell. Snap turtle shell. Snap turtle shell. Say that 10 times fast. Which is something he found in the woods and now he uses as a shield, but wears on his back, which I think is really funny. Put a little charm there, another little charm. So he's got this big shell he wears on his back, and he also, I don't know, when he's not being a menace and when I'm not trying to be a nuisance to everyone, Kevin is our healer and tank, which is a really cool playstyle, I find, because I kind of get to do nothing. So most of the time I run in front, turn into a big turtle, and then spend the rest of the rounds just kind of chilling out. I drink my tea, have a little doodle, laugh at whatever crazy stuff's going on, and then come back, heal everyone at the end. Quite like that playstyle. I like a passive one. And also it's nice to go from, the sort of the barbarian playstyle, which, you're running in and just causing chaos, to a far more slow-paced, helpful character. Yeah, that's what that's what he does. Yeah, sorry, it's not the best face. I need to continue working on the camera angles because it's quite hard to draw sometimes. Not a complaint, it's just need to figure out a way to make it a little bit easier for myself to draw. Oh yeah, and Kevin's the group chef. So he's got the chef feat. He's a rubbish druid, just FYI, terribly made, because his first feat was the chef one, which allows you to make nice meals for everyone, and it just adds a lot of flavor to. Pun intended. Ugh, stupid joke. It just helps to add a lot to the character itself and sort of that looking after everyone else sort of thing, and maybe not look after himself as well. So there's his favourite skillet he uses for cooking. We'll do some sausage links here, because he's a little bit paranoid, so he doesn't want to leave his food and stuff laying around. More straps there. So yeah, he's got the chef feat, so he can make nice meals for everyone and help them out in that way outside of combat. And what else has he got? Oh, he just accidentally, he traded the ability to, or the feat of telepathy. So that was quite useful. So he's got rid of that, exchanged for Warcaster, because, like I said, I made the character terribly, and every time he cast a spell, he'd be knocked out of concentration, which after a while was less and less funny. So we actually, sort of the DM figured out a way to help me help Kevin which is very kind because he was about as useful as a chocolate teapot on the best of days. So yeah, he's got all his sticks for his fires because he loves to cook. His bag of all his goodies, his food, his mug. Yeah. And then he's got sort of like the barbarian wraps still. You know, it was almost like he's forgotten. Well, he's forgetting how to be a barbarian because he's had to changed. He's having to change all of his ways he used to be. You know, he's trying to lose his anger, but you know, he's still struggling a little bit. You know, he's an angry dude, but he's got to eat. Sorry, it's a quote from a comedian called Steve Hughes. Really funny, wonderful Australian one. There we go. Sorry, I don't know what I'm rabbiting on about. I don't know why I'm saying rabbiting. I feel like I've said it about 11 times this drawing. Maybe I'm thinking of rabbits. You know, being a druid and all. Oh, I've just realised I've done that wrong. That should have been the knee to the thigh. Oh god, that's not good, is it? Let me see if I can sort of fix that and have that. I don't think I quite got away with that, but we'll see if that works. Oh, ignore that. It's fine. And then this back leg. Cool. So, what's everyone playing? Is anyone playing any tabletop RPGs? A little bit of Pathfinder or D&D or anything else? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. Right, nearly finished with old Kevin. Actually, I feel like Kevin's a pain for any DM because Kevin has previously come in another campaign which is set in the future, so I like to tell everyone, don't worry, I can't die, cause a time paradox. But we'll see, because Kevin's come close to getting himself wiped out a few times, because he's a silly Billy. Some hair. Yep, a little bit of hair on his legs. Another little strap coming off. Maybe another skull of some sort. Doesn't look like a skull. Looks awful. I like it. Right, and probably another bag. Okay, so he's kind of like the pack horse of the group. He's, you know, he's a typical druid. You know, does a little bit of everything. Right. Last character we drawn is Morgana. Morgana's an interesting one. So, she was, if I'm not mistaken, adopted or taken by hags when she was little and cursed to become a hag. So, her story is about finding the hags that did this to her, which we're in the midst of doing actually. It's a really cool storyline. The DM, Dungeon Daddy, has done incredibly well, putting all our ridiculous stories into one campaign, as well as, you know, running the Curse of Strahd. So it's just, you know, it's just amazing, really, how you can add so much unique stuff to an already, you know, established game. And Morgana is our high-hitting ranger of the swarm character. And basically she just does an immense amount of damage. She's very cool. Very cool. And also has quite a silly side as well, because it's a very funny person playing her. And there's her coat. Don't want to do too much. She's wearing like this hard leather corset sort of thing, I think. Yeah. These are the little buckles that hold it in. Hope that makes sense. And then little pockets. Little pockets everywhere. A little bit of shading for the coat. And then first little bag. And I imagine that's the treats for her magpies. Oh, forgot to draw the magpies. Good job. Alright. Put another little belt. And these are her bullets. She uses a very cool, like flintlock rifle instead of the usual bow. And then she's also got two sickles. I nearly forgot the name. Two sickles on her hip. I wrap around, we'll do them over here. So, and then that one can go around that one. And again, she wears more like, not flashy, but more stylish clothes. The nice leather, even though it's all stitched up as well. I don't think any of us are actually stylish, but she has swagger. Another little pocket. Nice, okay. And knee pad. Lots of leather. Lots of hide as well. I think we're a very ragtag bunch. And I quite like that as well. See a lot of campaigns where, the players become almost unstoppable forces of nature. And we just kind of bumble and bump into things the entire time. A lot of the time we have no idea what we're doing. Trying to make deals with people and we've kind of forgotten what the plan is. Oh, sorry. Which, to be honest, I think I enjoy more. It's just funnier. Then lace up the side. It's going to be stitching. Not stitching. Shoelacing. That's the word. Laces of shoe. Okay, and then a little bit of her arm down here. So she's kind of like holding a hat as the blast from her gun is, quite an almighty thing. And again, sleeves rolled up, Devil May Cry sort of style. And then one finger for the trigger. as we said, nothing that we're using or wearing is high quality. So, also little wraps. That's the, you know, the flintlock thingy. And then here we go. And then the gunpowder going off. And then do a cloak. Even to this day, every time I do a cloak or anything, I just imagine, well, I remember sort of the older comics of Spawn. That's where I always, that's how I think about drawing the cloaks, just sharp and... Sorry, this pencil keeps coming to attack me on my desk. Go away. There we go. A few holes. Nice. Very cool. And then we'll carry on drawing this whip. It's kind of wrapping around like that. And then a solid piece. And on the end, so we'll do a big wrap of leather, put a couple of straps here and here. Another little strappy bit. And then here, what we'll do is we'll draw a bone. Lots of tailbone. You might think, does this repetition stuff worry me? Nope. Quite like repetition. Plus it helps you think what you're going to draw next. Very cool. So, kind of looks like a spine, doesn't it? Maybe it is. More macabre than I usually draw, but you know, we're playing quite a dark fantasy campaign, so maybe it's okay. Nice. Right, it's getting quite late anyway. What I'll do is I'm going to pause there and rub everything out and see what we get. Alright, see you in a second. Welcome back, everyone. I realise I've missed a few little bits. So, oh, a little bit of shavings there, go away. So, gonna have to draw the rest of the bits sort of freehand without any sketch to go from. That should be fine because most of it's made up anyway. Right, so we'll give Shade a little bit more attention here. She is an incredibly interesting character, and I think she deserves a little bit more time. She's also got, as I say, a little hand crossbow, so let's see if we can draw that freehand. So she's wearing a little glove, the back of it open, and then cool. That will do, actually. Maybe she hasn't actually got an arrow arm. An arrow? A boat. A boat? Oh my goodness. Bolt. Oh, wow. Bolt. Was weirdly difficult to say. Maybe I need another sip of coffee, but I will wait for that. Bolt. Wow. was I struggling with that? Anyway, but that looks about done, I think. So, hope you enjoyed watching Shade, Kevin, and Moana be created. And, yeah, happy with that. And if you're playing any games lately, let me know. I'd like to know. And if there's anything you'd like to see in the future, give me a shout, and soon enough we'll be doing more for the board game. I'm just wonderfully procrastinating currently. But, yeah, we'll give it a go soon. Right. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.